Good morning, and welcome to this first virtual service at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. I am David Spear, and I look forward to sharing leadership of today's service with my good friend Jesse McCausland and with our Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Corey Ness. I'm joining you from the sanctuary at Clover Lane this morning, even while the rest of you are joining from your homes and other locations. As you might be able to see, the chancel area in the front of the sanctuary is missing. Both the stage and the wooden roof screen are gone, and the carpet has also been removed. Yes, the renovations to the sanctuary have begun. We expect them to last about 5 weeks and finish by the end of July. So we will hold our services virtually throughout this month. I thank our contractor, Gem Group, who gave me special dispensation to be in the sanctuary today. I had to follow some specific rules, such as wearing a hard hat, a reflective vest, and boots. I also thank Diggs Lovedale and Justin Shimana for helping with tech this morning. We invite you to join us for coffee hour following this morning's service, which will be by Zoom only today and will take place in this same virtual space. I invite you to take this moment to hold our combined space as sacred by remaining muted throughout the service. And I encourage you to keep your space at home as sacred as possible by eliminating distractions around you. Whoever you are, wherever you live, whomever you love, whatever you do for a living, you are welcome at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. I am grateful for this time together. Now please join us for our opening hymn. The words are included in the following video. Yeah, the hymn will be number 354 in your hymnal that you probably don't have. But as we laugh, we cry, and Justin is queuing up the video right now.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
We have chosen to bring ourselves here to this sanctuary, in person or virtually, today as we gather as a community of faith. We join together in solidarity as a covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. As seekers, wanderers, appreciators of nature, and creatures of connection, our paths have converged today so that we might become present to the spirit that is worship. And so let us worship together.
Well, that's my.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted. Each week is our tradition to light a chalice, which casts a circle of light to hold us all. As we create anew the symbol of our shared faith, let us reflect on these words by Craig Rowland. I believe in the warmth of this light, its glow filling the spaces where fear and doubt reside. I breathe out the tension I carry. I release what no longer serves me. I breathe in the strength of our community, a sanctuary of diverse voices and shared purpose. I breathe out the urge to go it alone. I embrace the power of togetherness. I breathe in the courage to speak truth, even when it trembles on my lips. I breathe out the silence that holds me back. I make space for honesty and justice. I breathe in the hope of transformation, knowing where we are here to build and heal. I breathe out despair, trusting that change is born in small acts of love. As we light this chalice, may each breath remind us of the sacred rhythm of life, the pulse of creation, and the power we hold to shape the world around us. When we gather in community, we remind ourselves and each other of why we are here and what we've agreed to try together. Here at UCH, we've decided that our goals are to encourage each other, to equip each other with what we need to succeed, and to empower each other to do good things. We renew this promise by reading our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another.
I have enjoyed being part of the building renovation that our church is currently undertaking. We don't need the slides quite yet. The construction phase has been especially enjoyable as we can see actual changes being made in the building. Our years of planning and design have finally come to fruition, and we can see the building being transformed. I've been especially fortunate to work directly with the contractor, as I somehow ended up being the liaison between them and the church. I've been able to be on site a couple of times a week, talk to the various workers, see changes occur day by day and week by week, and take photos. Lots of photos. The link to all the photos was included in the Friday email, and I encourage you to look at them and see what's been happening in your church home. And I add new photos a couple of times a week. After the service, I will upload this video to YouTube, and I'll include the link to the slides in there. Now, at some point, we will have to give you a tour of all the wonderful changes that are happening in the building. That will have to wait a while because, as you can see, the sanctuary is closed for renovations, and much of the rest of the building is off limits too. The building has been a hub of activity for the last 2 weeks. First, the lower level was sealed off for asbestos remediation, and that work has just completed. There's no more asbestos, no more dangerous air, and no more orange carpet. Last Monday, work began here in the sanctuary in earnest, and you can see how much has been transformed in just that 1 week. I did bring some pictures today, but not to give you that tour. These are just to show you some of what's been happening so that we can appreciate who is doing the work. Imagine the work that's being done to transform this space. How is it actually happening? What is being done day by day and week by week? How do we get from the before pictures to the after pictures? Here in the sanctuary, you can see that the existing platform where I am now sitting is gone, as is the rood screen that used to be behind me. And all the carpet is gone as well. Starting tomorrow, the ceiling and the wooden beams will be painted. Actually, it looks like they started painting already. They're ahead of schedule. Later, the existing lighting will be removed and replaced with beautiful new LED lighting fixtures. New carpet will be installed, and a new stage and rood screen will be constructed right here out of beautiful maple. It should be a significant and amazing transformation of this worship space. Now, you know how this process of construction works, of course, but I ask you to imagine it in your mind at this moment. Some workers came here and pulled the pieces of our stage apart, removing the gray carpet, separating the 3 steps and levels, and removing the various pieces of plywood that comprised the stage. Same for the rood screen. Those same workers removed it from its place on the stage and separated it into various sections that were small enough to be removed by hand. I've been impressed with the workers I've met so far. All of them seem to work honorably, doing the job right, doing what needs to be done to get a good result. Now, they could all be fooling me, of course, but I did mention this to Marta, the contractor's assistant project manager, and she concurred. Her company learned pretty quickly over the years which subcontractors are reliable and which ones are not, which ones do good work and which ones do not, which ones can be trusted and which ones cannot be trusted. We will have a chance to check everything at the end of this project to make sure it's correct, but I'm encouraged that integrity is being woven into the building. So let's meet some of these workers. And now we can share the slides. Yep. So here are 2 gentlemen. The gentleman on the left in the yellow shirt is Ryan Vernett, and the guy on the right is Roger Himmelberger. Ryan in the yellow is the site manager who has spent most of his days in the building seeing what's going on. He's been working on these kind of projects for more than 30 years, so he has pretty much seen it all. He lives just a few miles away behind me in Rutherford, and he appreciates a project so close to his home. Roger Himmelberger in the blue shirt is the project manager who coordinates the work, tracks the schedule, and makes sure that everything gets checked and everyone gets paid. Roger spends much of his time in the office, but has been a frequent visitor to the site also. He and his wife live up north in Bethel with their 4 kids. Next slide. On the right side of this picture is Marta, who I mentioned a minute ago, Marta Selebic, the assistant project manager, who works for Roger, the bearded man in the blue shirt. Here she is talking to Ryan about the upcoming schedule and when various tasks will take place. Marta is originally from Serbia, but she came to America to play basketball at a college in the Midwest. Along the way, she got an engineering degree and completely lost her Serbian accent. The guy talking to Guy Donnelly in this picture is Brandon, who is also notable for a long beard. He is from Clover Electric, and he is the electrical manager who has overseen all the electrical and lighting changes that have been made. In addition to his lengthy beard, he is notable for wearing a Harley-Davidson hat. He's also notable for his patience when working with churches, explaining the basics to each church who is probably doing this for the first time. This guy on the ladder is Daniel, and he's an electrician who works with Brandon. He's spent several weeks here already, removing existing lighting fixtures and installing new ones, moving a few switches to make it easier to turn the lights on and off, adding electrical outlets to the priestly room and to the foyer. Okay, this one is Anderson Pro Painting, and they have sent numerous people here over the weeks. Here they are painting the exterior of the building. This next slide is of Gabe, a young summer worker who's painting the corridor on the west side of the sanctuary to my right. He's pleasant and friendly, easygoing, and a fan of the Joe Rogan show. The next slide, go back one. Well, this one is Haley. She also works for Anderson Pro Painting, and she's in the common room painting the side columns a beautiful empire gold. Others will soon be in this very sanctuary, and it looks like they already have actually, to repaint the ceilings as well as our beautiful wooden beams here. This is Jeff from Whitmore Restoration doing some work on the masonry on the right corner of the building. He's removing and replacing some aged grout in the exterior walls. He also single-handedly restored the masonry planters in front of the building. He's very focused on his work and determined to do it well. Jeff and his wife live up north in Gratz, where they rehabilitated an old cabin into a home and planted extensive gardens outside. I didn't catch the name of this gentleman on the ladder, but he is a very kind and gentle person. He's from Brown's Glass, and he and others replaced a couple of windows for us, and they resealed the windows in the foyer and in the sanctuary. Okay. So I've shown you these pictures not to name drop or recommend their companies, but to demonstrate that actual humans are doing the work. The renovations to the building are not arising through magic, but through the careful and deliberate workmanship of experienced workers. Our hands are not capable of doing a project of this size, so they have become our hands. The workmanship is baked into the renovations that our congregation will enjoy for the next 30 or 40 years. I wish that we could have done some of this work ourselves. It would have been a great community building opportunity, and we might feel more invested in the result if our hands were the ones who did it. But that only happens in my dreams. The reality is that we cannot do this ourselves. There aren't enough of us, and not all of us are even able-bodied. We have busy lives, and we just can't take off the month of July to work on a building. And beyond that, a lot of the work requires expertise. Perhaps we could do some painting, and we could try our hand at restoring masonry, but some things are just harder than they look. I don't know if anyone would feel comfortable on the high lift machine to reseal the windows behind me, but I'm sure that none of us could do the asbestos remediation. So we hired professionals, and they have become our hands to do the work that we cannot do ourselves. I'm hoping that we can appreciate our revitalized building a little bit more by observing what others are doing on our behalf. I would like us to honor the integrity and humanity of these workers. Yes, we have hired them, and yes, we are paying them for their work. But they're also people. They have husbands and wives, they have families and children, and all the ones I've met so far seem to be good citizens of the community. Most of you have not had the chance to meet any of these individuals, so I hope that by sharing their pictures and their stories, you are able to appreciate them as people. I will even go one step farther. To me, they feel like a little part of our church community. They're not here for our Sunday services or evening events, but they have spent more hours here than many of us will throughout the entire year. And that feels a little bit like a community, doesn't it? Eventually, they will move on to other projects, but their workmanship and craftsmanship will remain in the building and connect them to us for the years to come. I would even be happy if the workers would join our church. If that little community of workers could join our larger church community. It's unlikely, I know, because they came here to do a job and to renovate our building, not to look for a new church family. But the idea appeals to me nonetheless. The reality is that I will probably not see any of these workers after the renovations are completed, but I am enjoying my time with this little community while I have the chance. The workers are nice to me, and I am nice to them. They behave professionally towards me, and I act professionally towards them. I ask them questions about the project, and they give me answers. They ask me to clarify things and to process the paperwork so that they can be paid, and I do. This is probably the same as any other workplace, so this wouldn't usually even be notable. But here, the workers are giving their time and their effort to renovate our building so that this congregation can continue for the next few decades. They're working with integrity and honesty and using their skills for our benefit. I'm grateful for that. And so I honor the hard work that each of these individuals is doing day by day for the good of this church. And I hope that when you admire the finished product, you can also appreciate the individuals who labored on our behalf.
Good morning. So our Time for All Ages is titled We Are the Builders by Deepa Iyer. And this book is illustrated by Romina Galato. Welcome. Welcome to our Community Day. Ready to find your role to play? My name is Ramla. I'm your guide. Follow me and stay by my side. So many grown-ups and kids are here. Everyone wants to volunteer. There's plenty to do in our own town. Help new friends plant trees. The time is now. Let's all play a part. Listen and learn. What moves your heart? We are the builders. We form and forge, construct and fix, improve homes with nails and bricks. See those old desks, tables, and chairs? Good as new, with some repairs. Who wants to join the builders? Now we are the caregivers. We comfort, console, soothe, and cheer. Care kits for all, near and dear. Acts of service and words that mend. How can I help my new friend? So who wants to join the caregivers? Now, we are the frontline responders. We plan and protect, and we stay prepared. Storms brewing, but don't be scared. Stock Cans of soup, bags of fresh fruits, gather warm coats, gloves, and boots. Now, who wants to be a frontline responder? We are the disruptors. We declare, demand, demonstrate, call for change. Don't hesitate. Raise our voices, banners, and beats. Meet and march out in the streets. Who wants to join the disruptors? And we are the experimenters. We scan, invent, improvise, solve hard problems with fresh eyes. What if these used bottles and rags could become, backpacks and bags? Who wants to join the experimenters? We are the visionaries. We dream, imagine, inspire a world we can all admire. Fresh air, clean water, safe and free, bright futures, that's what we see. Who wants to join the visionaries? We are the weavers. We stitch, we braid, we intertwine. Common threads link hearts and minds. When people fight or disagree, find what connects you and me. Now, who wants to join the weavers? We are the healers. We renew, restore, and relieve. We tend to those who cry and grieve. Sometimes when the world is too much, we nurture with breath and touch. Who wants to join the healers? And we are the storytellers. We sing, we dance, we create art, bring joy and love heart to heart. Vibrant murals preserve our past, histories cherished at last. Who wants to join the storytellers? Of the different roles to play, which one feels like you today? You could become a guide like me, show new folks what they can be. We mentor, we advise, we steer, we share wisdom honest and clear. Now that it's clear what we can do, we want to hear from you. What role would you choose? Who would you be? And how will you change your community?
Let's join together in the spirit of meditation, opening our hearts and minds to these words of prayer offered by Lucas Hergert. Your hands, the ones that you're holding together in prayer of or desperation of hope, the ones with the tiny scar you carried since that bicycle accident all those years before, the ones that today may shake the worry or sit still from the gravity of headlines. Those hands, your hands, there is something to remember, a needful thing to remember about your hands. That they are the same hands that petted the cool, slick back of a kitten on its first day. The same ones that flattened the crumpled edges of a construction paper heart after the glue came unstuck. The same hands that just last night pulled your family's patchwork under the chin of your youngest as you whispered, "It's going to be okay," and wanted it to be so. The same hands that offered, in the simplest gesture of gift giving, tissues to a stranger who, tears streaking her face, asked, "Why? Why?" Addressed not to you, but to God, asked of the world whose glue has come unstuck. They are the same hands that give the world its most needful thing. You know its most needful thing. You know because your hands have always given it, always offered or tried to offer the kindest touch, exactly when it was hoped for. And you know nothing can change that, right? Nothing can take away the brilliant, beautiful power of the hands. God gave you not to pull a trigger, but to proclaim the softness of the world. Nothing can annul the kindness of your touch. There is power in your hands, the power of a kindness that beckons to remake the world always, as though this were its first day. Let's share a moment of silence together now.
We engage as a community to also share our joys and concerns, our concerns and milestones. When we join together to hold each other in support and in celebration, we deepen our sense of interrelationship. We may find our sorrows eased and our joys magnified. I invite you to share them now through typing them into the virtual chat. I will read them aloud as they appear. Spoken or unspoken, our hearts join with yours in carrying all that life brings. From Rachel, unspoken sorrow. Bart shares with us, I'm thankful to see so many UCH folks online this morning. Chelsea, grateful for the life lessons, even though they may cause some sorrow. Patty shares that she is grateful. And Rima, who is thankful that her son had a fabulous trip to Spain as he just returned back to the Philadelphia area. And for all those that have been shared and those many concerns that we hold deeply in our hearts and yet remain unspoken, we journey with each other in love.
Thank you, Corey. When I think of building our future, much like the renovations at our church grounds, I think of what opportunities lie ahead and what can be done in the now to help achieve them. For example, if I wanted good credit, I'd have to pay off my debts, continue to pay monthly utility bills and expenses, and stay on top of my current credit. If I wanted to eat tacos for dinner tonight, I'd have to plan out the ingredients this morning, go shopping afterwards, and then cook the items. If I wanted Democrats back in political power, I would start by maybe researching what campaigns to support, or maybe how to engage greater voter turnout. What I do know is my future would look better with a Democratic controlled government, with good credit, and with tacos for dinner tonight. I am proud to be a 10-year plus member of this congregation. I joined at a time in my life where I was, for all intents and purposes, spiritually bankrupt. Y'all welcomed me with open arms and encouraged me to carve a path for my own growth, though not alone. There, in the building where David is, I have celebrated solstices, meditated mindfully on Buddhist and other readings, enjoyed moderating a small group ministry or couch group, helped with the auction planning committee, joined in a celebration of life for a longtime member / family friend, rented space for a New Year's Eve recovery event, currently attend a regular recovery meeting, and also enjoy a monthly board game group, which you really should ask Dan Vaughn about, just to name a few of the things, or a lot. You've even let me into your houses for get-togethers and dinners. And by being a part of this community, these things have done for me and my spiritual growth more than I have done for them. These experiences and interactions with y'all have helped me to build towards my future and keep me wanting to give back to this and other communities. Of course, though, that is just my future, and we are talking about our collective future. We all have different goals in life and are all at different phases in achievement towards them. Collectively, though, we can agree on, or at least agree to adhere to, our UU principles. Using these as a safeguard, we can come up with all kinds of ideas for building a future that we can be proud of. I would like to leave you with this thought. I have found that when I put in the work and can see my part when previous futures have come, it keeps my hope not just alive, but thriving for an even better next future. Thank you, and here's till tomorrow. The Unitarian Church of Harrisburg is, as always, an intentionally gathered congregation of freely thinking, loving people. This church is created and sustained and supported by us all. Each week, we take up an offering where we ask each other to share money to support the church. We also use half of this money to help a charity which is doing important work to improve the world. For the month of July, we are sharing with Peace Promise. Peace Promise addresses the complexities of sex trafficking in the Harrisburg region by offering outreach and intervention, support and training, education and awareness, and economic empowerment for those who have experienced the weight of sexual exploitation. They partner with survivors in their healing process to provide for practical needs like housing and employment, while also addressing emotional support and life skills training to equip survivors to thrive in their journey to freedom. If you wish to contribute online, visit UCHBG.org and scroll to the bottom of the page for options. Note that our payment platform has recently changed, so please be prepared to enter your payment information, even if you have given previously. For those who would prefer to do so, you can always mail a check to the church with plate written in the memo line as an alternative to giving online. Your financial support and commitment matter. Please consider giving what you are able as we hear our bell choir perform A Day to Rejoice. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of compassion and action, faith and fellowship, hope and wholeness.
Hello again. I've turned myself around in the sanctuary so that you can see more of what is happening in the sanctuary here. Today was the wrong day for the tech to go a little bit astray, so those cameras weren't working, but now you can see more of what is happening. Now, the construction phase of this project is the most exciting to me. We get to see paint actually applied to the walls, we get to see new lighting installed, and we get to see new carpet put onto the floor. Before our eyes, we could see the common room downstairs being transformed into a brighter, more cheerful space where we can meet and socialize and build our community together. Over the next month, this sanctuary will be transformed into a beautiful new space. We plan to hold services in this sanctuary again on August 3rd, so we can celebrate our revitalized space together. And for me, it's been especially nice to come to the site and see what's been happening week by week, talk to the contractor and various workers, and feel a part of the entire renovation project. This is an important part of our congregation's history, and I'm delighted and grateful to participate in it. Now let's take a few minutes to remember why we are undertaking this project in the first place, and then put it into some historical context. The result will be fantastic and the building will be revitalized, but why are we doing this? When you've been extremely generous with your finances, committing $880,000 of your hard-earned money. I'm lucky that I get to wear the hard hat, but ultimately this is your project. You are the congregation who has both the legal ownership and the moral ownership of the church, and it's worth reminding ourselves why we are doing this. So let's wind back the clock and see how we got to this place. Let's remind ourselves what happened at the beginning of this long, long project. Before any of the renovation work could begin, our team had to approve each item that would be used on the project to make sure that it matched the design specifications. We had to approve all the paint colors, the exact carpet and design, all the light fixtures, the new dividers between the stalls and the restrooms and kinds of sinks, the door locks, and even the kind of paper towel dispensers. That was pretty tedious, but we had to make sure that everything matched the design. And before that, what happened? We had to choose a contractor So we interviewed 3 local companies, investigated their references, checked their history, and ultimately selected GEM Group. Prior to that, we spent many months working with the architect, deciding what needed to be renovated, and selecting what we could actually afford to renovate. Along the way, we made a couple of presentations to you about what was being planned. Now, before that came the essential but always awkward aspect of asking you for your financial commitment. As I said, you are the congregation, and it was up to you to decide whether you thought this was a worthy undertaking and how much you could commit to its funding. Clearly, you think it's worthwhile because you generously contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, how did we develop the information and the illustrations to show you what the project might be? We hired an architect. We spent a lot of time researching architects in the region, and we ultimately interviewed 3 of them, checked their backgrounds and their projects, and ultimately decided to work with Beers and Hoffman. We worked with them for several months to develop our basic ideas so that we could present them to you. There was another important step even before that. As we began investigating where to even start this undertaking, we realized that we should ask for some outside help. Now, our team does have some experience in engineering, construction, project development, finances, and communication, but everyone we spoke to said that we should hire a consultant anyway. We were grateful to find Liz Coit, who has worked with many UU congregations who were doing the exact same thing that we are doing. She helped us get started, told us the important steps, and helped us take our first baby steps. Hiring Liz was money very well spent. But this still doesn't tell us why we are actually doing this. Each of these steps is important, and they got us where we are now. But they only helped us to implement what we had decided beforehand. Do you remember all the cottage meetings that were held? Do you remember giving input about the future of our congregation? That team asked you a lot of questions, and you graciously and generously spent your time and energy to give input. From that came a strategic plan for the congregation about what we needed to do over the next 5 years to accomplish our goals. It took a lot of time, as has everything in this project, but we needed to know which direction to go before we spent a lot of energy going there. Now, the plan included 6 overarching goals. 1, develop an identity that is internally and publicly recognizable. 2, be a center for spiritual growth for curious and caring people. 3, provide support and programs to members of all ages and family arrangements. 4, be a community hub. 5, be a center of social justice work. And 6, make our building and grounds into a haven for UU spiritual development and community connection. Many thanks to Mary Henninger-Vost for sifting through all the information that you provided and distilling it down to these 6 concrete items. I think it's a great list because it identifies these 6 core aspects of our congregation so that we can work directly to fulfill them. Now, are these the reasons that we are doing this project? Have we come to the core of why we have undertaken this? Almost. We have peeled away the layers of the onion and come almost to the center. And what is that center? It is the mission of this congregation. All of this is in service to the mission that the congregation identified and voted in favor of years ago. Perhaps you could be forgiven for not remembering the mission of this church because we don't talk about it every week. On the other hand, it is written on the front of the order of service every week. But there is no printed order of service for these virtual services, so I will remind us. There are just 3 points. We make a difference by encouraging lifelong spiritual exploration, equipping individuals for service, and empowering them to act for justice in the world. And one central aspect of this mission is meeting the spiritual needs of the past, current, and future generations. So here, we finally have our answer after all of that. Why are we undertaking this renovation project? Why have we spent so much time and energy doing this? Why have we asked for your financial contributions? To further the mission of this church. Remember that it is the mission that guides our direction. And as I said, you have already determined that. The mission is not what I think, and it's not what any individual member thinks. It's not necessarily what any church president thinks. It's not necessarily what any minister thinks either.
Oh,
Although,
Jesus.
I am confident that our current minister supports this mission. And it is this mission that guides us, and that is what we want to continue here. Now, I find it helpful to put this in some historical context. I came to this congregation in 2007, more than 18 years ago. I was lost, and I didn't really know what I actually believed, and I didn't know where I fit in the world. The congregation welcomed me, nurtured me, pushed me in helpful directions, and gave me a community to belong to. And I am immensely, immensely grateful for that. And today I'm a much wiser, more mature, more self-aware, more confident, and more stable person because of you. And I don't say that lightly. I truly mean all of those words. It is because of you and others at this church that I've grown from that less mature person 18 years ago into what I am today. Now, how was that made possible? How did this community come to exist so that I could stumble into your doors in 2007? Well, it certainly didn't pop into existence out of nowhere. It took the efforts and determination of generations of people before me to make this happen. And let's take a look at some of those. Now, does anyone know when this congregation was founded? Now, I know you're all muted, but I'm sure I heard someone say 1927, and that is right. And as a side note, that means our centennial is just 2 years away. And when was this building first constructed? That's right, I'm sure I heard someone say 1963. We previously met in a building on Front Street, but then Interstate 81 came along, and that building was right in its path. So the congregation wisely left that location, and they chose this site for its new home. And in case you're curious, the previous site is right at exit 66 of Interstate 81, under the bridge and under the parking lot of the Days Inn. Now, in the church archives, there are documents from much of the history of this congregation. They're right there in the filing cabinet in the office area. They're not hidden away anywhere, and there are a lot of documents. But I'll highlight just a few. We have the document showing that we purchased this property from Charles and Thelma Janakovich on March 21st, 1963. We have the document for when the church was incorporated on August 16th, 1965. That was signed by then-President Gloria Stewart. We have the documents for contributions that were made to construct this building and to expand it in later years. We have the architectural drawings from 1963 and for a small improvement project around 1982. We have all the documents and drawings from 1993 when the church was expanded. Now, most of us were not here in 1993, but the drawings tell us that we added the chapel on the west side of the church and the offices on the east side of the church, along with the hallways. We added all the classrooms downstairs in the lower level, and we even moved the entire glass window that I'm facing forward several feet to lengthen the sanctuary. The archives have many other documents as well, including lists of previous ministers, previous board presidents, and previous employees. We know many of the people who taught our youth or kept the finances straight. Their names are throughout these documents. There are names throughout these documents of many people who enabled this community to exist. And now it is my turn to help protect the building so that ministries here can welcome others. Now, hopefully the renovated structure will look beautiful and bright and inspiring, and hopefully it will feel welcoming to all who enter its doors. But the deeper reason for these renovations is to enable the mission of this congregation to continue over the next several decades. This congregation has existed for 98 years so far, thanks to 98 years of hard work by generations of people. And I'm hoping that it will continue for at least another 98 years. We together have taken a very large step to make that possible by preserving our home and preparing it for the next generations of people who will be part of this congregation. To those of you who are newer to this congregation, welcome. I hope you will find your spiritual footing here as I did, and also find a community of like-minded people with whom you can learn and grow for many decades to come. To those of you who have been a part of this congregation for a long time, thank you for keeping the church going over all those years, and thank you for supporting this initiative and making this congregation viable for future generations. And to all of you, thank you for being a part of this long project. Thank you for supporting it, and thank you for helping to continue the mission of this church. Now, please join us in our closing hymn, "We Are Building a New Way." The words are included in the video. I invite you to remain for coffee and fellowship, which will begin in the same virtual space immediately after this benediction. These closing words come from Craig Rowland. As we extinguish this chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain within us, guiding our steps and our hearts. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, the courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond these walls. Go in peace, with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way. Amen. Now please I invite you to remain in this virtual space and join us now for coffee hour. And we can divide you into breakout rooms in about 5 minutes or so that you can enjoy deeper conversation.